What is up, Yugi-tubers? It is me, today, Henry, coming to you today with a Mermail deck profile. And you've already seen Grant's build. Now I'm going to give you my version of the deck. It's a little different from his, but, it's pretty good. I mean, like, whew. I've been using it, and it's just been wiping the floor with people. Like, no joke. And I'm going to get right into it. So, to start off, I'm going to start off with of course, one Gundy, just because when it's discarded, special summon a Mermail from your graveyard. It's absolutely great. I know why it's at 1, but I wish it was, I think this card is better at 2 than it is at 3 or 1, because I feel that at 3 it could be a bit cloggy if you don't have anything to discard it. If it was at 2, it'd be perfect, and Mermails would be dominating like no joke. So yeah, one Gundy. Continuing on, 3 Lind, no explaining there. When it's sent to the graveyard, or is it when it's destroyed? If this card on the field is sent to the graveyard, special summon a Mermail monster from your deck, so you have to run this at 3. It special summons out pretty much any Mermail you want, and you have a bunch of targets. 3 Abyss Pike, because Abyss Pike just sets you up for next turn. Like, you discard, add an Undyne, discard, add the next card I'm going to tell you. Mermail, Abyss, Dyne. Now, the reason I run this is because of Pike and Salvage. When this card is added from your deck or graveyard to your hand by a card effect, you can special summon this card from your hand. You must control a Mermail monster to activate and to resolve this effect. When this card is special summoned by the effect of Mermail monster, if it's being special summoned by its own effect, it's being special summoned by a Mermail monster, you can target one level 3 or lower Mermail monster in your graveyard, special summon that target. You can only use one Mermail Abyss Dyne effect per turn, and only once that turn. So, this is in here because it's great for pulling out the rank 3s. And the primary rank 3 I go for is Nightmare Shark. And it's great. I'll get to Nightmare Shark later. 1 Sturge, like Grant, because if you run, I don't really think you need 2 Sturge. Really, I don't. And then on for the boss rank 7s, 3 Abystius, because you ditch 1, special summon it from your hand. If you special summon it from your hand, add a level 4 lower Mermail monster from your deck to your hand. You can do this with Dyne, so go for the rank 3. 2 Megalo, because you contribute a water monster for it to attack twice, and you can, when it's summoned from the hand, add a Abyss Spell or Trap card from your deck to your hand. 1 Lead, because it's 2700 attack. I never really summon it from the hand. I mainly summon it using Lind. And that's it for the Mermail. Now onto the Atlantean. 2 Marksmen for set cards, and 2 Infantry for face-up cards. That's it for the pretty much destruction. 1 Dragoons, because it adds pretty much Megalo to your hand. 2 Undyne, because Undyne's Undyne. You can set up your grave to add a controller. And I normally send Dragoons or Title, which is right here. Now, I've done on occasion, I've sent a Mermail monster, because I'll have Squall set. So continuing on, 2 controller for the 2 Undyne, and 1 Title because it's a water deck. On to spells, I only run 7, which is more than Grant's build, who I think only ran 3. 1 Salvage, again I mentioned, for the Dyne, and it adds your Atlanteans back to hand to just use again. 1 Contact with the Aquamirror. This is a tech choice that I chose to throw in, because if you control a water monster, you can activate one of these 2 effects. Look at all set cards your opponent spell and trap card zone, which is good if you want to make a big push and you want to know what your opponent has set. Or look at the top 2 decks of either player's deck and return them to the top of the deck in any order. If you want to set up your next draw, or you want to give your opponent a dead draw, possibly. So this card is actually really good, and I like it as a tech choice. It's been working pretty well. depending on if my deck runs a huge, or my opponent runs a huge back row deck, I'll either leave it in, or if they don't, I'll side it out. 1 Book of Moon because it's a staple. 2 MST. Grant didn't run MST because he had the 3 marksman, but I like the MST in case my opponent plays like things that like Soul Drain to stop my graveyard, so this is still able to pop some back row. And to finish off the spells, 2 Soul Charge because it's Soul Charge, it's sacky. Onto traps, I run 8. 3 Abyss Sphere, no explaining there. You'll pretty much use it to special summon Lind. But I've used it once to special summon Lead because I had Squall set, and it was to set up my grave for Squall next turn for the Xyz. 1 Squall, if you haven't figured this out, to just swarm the field with Mermails. I believe, they cannot declare an attack and are destroyed during the end phase, but what I'll probably do is summon 2 rank 7s and Lind. So I Xyz for a rank 7, and then during the end phase, Lind goes to grave, and I get Lind's effect, special summoning Mermail. So that's always good. I don't really see it at 2, as it can be more cloggy at 2 or 3. 1 is just right, in my opinion, and it can be searched with Megalo and Lead. 1 Divine Wrath, because it's Divine Wrath. It can set up your grave, sort of, for other monsters like Sturge, so Sturge isn't a dead draw, or it can discard Title. And then for the one of staples, Solemn Warning, Bottomless, and Compulse. That's it for the main deck. 40 cards, 25 monsters, 7 spells, and 8 traps. Onto the extra deck. Of course, the extra deck is pretty much the same for all Mermail decks, with a few tech choices that duelists like to run. 1 Gaios, 1 Big Eye, 1 Dracosac, and these are all the staple rank 7s for this deck. 1 Dweller for if you're playing against like Hat or At variant decks or Shaddolls. 1 Bahamut, I think this is a staple for the extra deck. 2 Silent Honor Arc because you're able to just take a special summon monster. It's really good. Got GGG Cowboy because almost every time you pull it out, it's good. It's good game. 1 Trite because I'll pull out Bahamut and then go into Trite, and then my opponent, and then I'll like, what would I do? I don't know, but Trite, my opponent might Solemn or Dark Hole, so Trite goes to grave, and I get a free Mermail. So I think Trite's good. Now, number 47, Nightmare Shark, is a choice that I chose to put in. I'm not sure if it's out yet since it's being priced at 0 right now, so I don't think it's out. I hope it comes out soon, though, because it's a great card. Great, actually, generic rank 3. Better, though, if it's in a water deck. You can when it's special summoned, you can attach 1 level 3 water monster from your hand or your side of the field to this card as an Xyz material. So even if your opponent sends it to the grave, you can soul charge it, and if you have a level 3 in hand or your field, you can attach it as Xyz material. So it'll almost always have an Xyz material, which I think is great. And it allows your opponent, it allows you to target 1 monster and attack directly. This is great for like late game when your opponent's trying to sit on a defense position monster. Pull this out, target a monster, attack directly for game. It's better than Heartland Draco, excuse me, in my opinion, because you can target more monsters with higher attack, or you can target monsters with higher attack. So yeah, that's it for the Xyzes. On to the 5 Synchros. 1 Leo because it's Leo, Black Rose because it's Black Rose. Gungner because you can discard water monsters to the grave to destroy that amount of cards on the field. It's great because if you have Atlanteans in your hand, aka any of these, you get their effects, destroy 2 cards, and if you discarded infantry or marksman, pop a set and or pop a face up. 1 Goyoku because it's Goyoku, it's now limited, why wouldn't you run it? And then 1 Vulcan the Divine because it's a great level 6 synchro nowadays. You summon it, target 1 face-up monster you control and 1 face-up monster your opponent controls. So you can target itself and a face-up card your opponent controls. It's like Cardinal in synchro form, just not as strong. Bounces those back, and it's stronger attack-wise, but not effect-wise. Bounces those back, and you can just go from there. That's it for the extra deck. Onto the side deck. 3 Debunk for Shaddol. This is my Shaddol hate right here. 3 Debunk 2 cursed, 2 forbidden spell, 1 non-fusion area. That's my shit all hate primarily. Debunk's also good for any decks that revolve around the grave, so like maybe mirror matches or Burning Abyss or maybe even Infernities because of maybe maybe I'm not sure, but definitely Vanity's Emptiness against Infernities, against Burning Abyss, stuff like that. 1 Dark Hole. I side Dark Hole because if I know my opponent's gonna go to, if I know my opponent's running a spam monster deck and they're gonna go first, I'll side Dark Hole in. I chose to side Dark Hole instead of maining it because if I draw Dark Hole first turn, it's pretty much a dead draw. So yeah, and then 1 MST in case my opponent's running a heavy back row deck. 2 Max C, because it's Max C. If your opponent's running like Infernities, stuff like that, just draw, draw, draw. And 2 Effect Failure to negate effects. That's it for the deck profile. I hope you guys like it. Like, comment, and subscribe. I like this build better than any of the other Mermails because I don't know. I like it better. If you want to run a Lance, you can take out a Dine and Aquamir. But I just like those. I like those 2 tech choices because whenever I pull out Dine, it's pretty much a rank 3 Xyz. And Aquamir just lets me look at set cards. I really hope you enjoyed this video, guys. If you watch this channel and if you like my channel, spread it to your friends. Just trying to build it up more, and I'm out. Peace!